This summer is going to cost you more than you think, and most people won't see it coming until it already hit them. Gas is up. Groceries are up. Your electricity bill is about to spike right when you need it most, and a war 6,000 miles away is the reason for all of it. But here's what nobody's telling you. The damage isn't coming. Most of it is already locked in. The decisions were made quietly, on farms, in shipping terminals, in refinery rooms, while the news covered something else entirely.
Shalom. First of all, let's start off by giving all great honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakdash. The belongingness that teaches us and the boss of great millstone, likewise brothers put out this truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep unto you brothers and sisters that are tuning in. Shalom. Today's lesson's title, It's Judgment Time. The blessings has expired. Edom. And as you saw in that opening clip, the video pretty much went into, all of the social upheaval that's taken place, because of, a global economic downturn, and particularly here in Great Babylon, America, because of the decision being made by the current administration, and of course, if you look at it from that perspective, you'll think, if you had voted for the blue guys, meaning the Democrats, you probably wouldn't have, a war, or a beginning of a war out there in the Straits of Hormuz, and hence you wouldn't have the price of fuel, commodity, goods, and mass layoffs and all these things that's taking place, all at once, going on here in Great Babylon, America. But that's far from the truth. In fact, this is prophecy. When we go into the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, starting with verse 6, it reads, Howl ye, for the day of the Lord, Yahweh Shai, is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. And this is shocking to these people, in particular these Edomites. Imagine, you've gone through centuries of being on top. Even these present Edomites, these 9-to-5ers, or these ones that, Jakes have a closer interaction with, the ones that throw your resume in the garbage, the ones that tell you to pull up yourself by your bootstrap, and the ones that look at you with the proud eyes and arrogance because, they're not in trouble like other men. They had the job's easy, they go into interview, qualified or not, they got the job because they fit into the culture, a culture of phonies and, lies, In the meantime, particularly the Jake man, so-called Negro and Latino man and Native American man, were left out in the dust and the wind. Some of us do get lucky, we do get lucky, but, to the level of the so-called white man, Jake is at the bottom, and they love that. They love seeing us in pain and sorrows, but now you're seeing it's happening to them, along with those that continue to support, the Edomite Empire, the Jakes, that don't want to heed to the warning, that's coming from the man of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Let's go to verse 11. It says, And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. So you have, I think today Meta, which is part of Facebook or the parent company of Facebook, just laid off 7,000 people today. You had, who was it? Hewlett Packard, IBM, who else out there? Thing was Boeing, and just several of these, companies, major conglomerates, laying off people like crazy, and mainly they're now targeting white collar workers, meaning what? People that are in high level positions in those organizations that make, high six figure salaries, to do absolutely nothing but walk around with a coffee in their hand and, speaking proudly while, your blue collar workers do all the work, but they're being impacted too, you're seeing more and more of that. Keep in mind with these people, they don't prepare for this. In fact, if you've never had to go through adversity, then you would not be prepared for it. So a lot of these people, they live significantly beyond their income, even though they were having a high income because they go on their jet set, they go whining and dining, hosting parties, and they just, they've never had the door slam in their face. So they've never gone into that, how do I want to put it, into that miser prepare for a rainy day type of mentality, okay? Which, if you're wise and you've experienced that pretty much most of your life, then you start to say, okay, maybe I should, cut back on this and live significantly below my income. That way, when the time comes like this, when this happened, okay, if you're wise, okay, then you wouldn't be in that kind of spirit. But we know eventually this place is going to come tumbling down. Whether you prepared like that or not. Okay, this is 2 Ezra 15. Starting verse 12, it reads, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that power shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful consolation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Sooner or later, these Edomites are going to say, you know what, screw it. Okay, and you hearing whispers of that right now. You're seeing videos of that. Okay, we're disappointed. MAGA is not what we thought it was, and this and that. And they would not be saying this if it was just all about, grabbing up Jakes, so-called Latinos and Native Americans and so-called blacks, and Hispanics, off the streets and throwing them in the back of these van, beating them in the streets and, throwing them into these internment camps. They were all rallying about that just last year. Okay, but then see how the Lord Yahweh shift things. He shifted to actually, pursuing the Deuteronomy 30:7, where right now, okay, the blessings have expired. Okay, starting with you low-level, poor Edomites. Okay, you're now have become like Jakes. Okay, you're in a desperate situation, and it's about to get even more desperate. It doesn't matter if you're blue collar or white collar, and you can see the Lord has plagued this place with drugs. Okay, unemployment. You have people thinking about clashing with each other. You have whites against whites. They're looking with evil eyes at so-called Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, and blacks as the blame for the downfall of this place. And it's like, no, okay. This is the Lord Yahweh Shai. So now you're working and you're not getting ahead. Okay, and you have Jakes mixed in this, but interesting enough, you have the people that are the most oppressed and depressed, the poorest, still proud and still don't want to believe because it's coming from the mouths of people that looks like them. That's fine. This is Romans 3, and verse 3 reads, For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the fate of power without effect? Power forbid. Yea, let power be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. So the judgment is starting right now, and you Jakes are not. You're not any better off. Okay, you're the first one that's kicked off the job. You're the first one that's evicted. Okay, you get Jason who bought houses in these HOA places, and these HOAs are association or homeowners associations taking away their houses. And these things and these calamities are happening at a time, especially when, people are in their elder ages, where they're limited physically, their mental capacity is down, and the love of many is waxing cold. You're seeing a lot of things that's now, turning against people. And the Lord is going to be very specific in who he put these judgments on. Okay, when we go to Proverbs 1, and start with verse 24, and this is particular or specific to the children of Israel, so-called blacks, and Americans, and Latinos, and Hispanics. It said, because I have called, and ye refused, the prophets out there. I have stretched my hand, and no man regarded, but ye have set naught at all my counsel, and with none of my reproof. Y'all looking for entertainment. Okay? We're not going to put that kind of pressure on us to bring you out fresh this, fresh that. Okay? The scriptures or the Bible is repetitive. It's just that way. It's the way it was written. Okay, so that's what you're going to get. We're going to keep saying it until the Lord Yahweh Shai close our mouths. And y'all should be fearful of the day our mouths are closed. Okay, it said, I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as a desolation, your destruction cometh as a whirlwind. When distress and anguish coming upon you, okay, mental and physical. But mainly this is going to be a mental thing. Okay, there's a whole lot of it come up about it with this, okay? Joblessness, homelessness, drug addiction, psychopaths out there. People want to kill you, take what little that you have, if you have anything like that. Hey, the help out there with the soup kitchen, all that stuff, all of that's going to be gone. The people who are working in those soup kitchen eat that stuff for themselves. Okay, so right now there's some generosity going into there, but yes, as things evolve, it's not going to be like that. So even those helpers not going to be there. That's the reason why you had Trump change up a lot of the laws about how people going to get welfare and all this other stuff, or get help, state help. They got to go through all this red tape, and this is really going to piss these Edomites off, because because a lot of these white collars and blue collar Edomites, okay, are going to end up having to go on the welfare line, and when they get there, they're going to find there's a lot of red tape. And what is going to be the reason? They're going to say, well, if the blacks and the Latinos weren't on welfare like that, taking up all of the resources like that, there would be some for you. And this is going to really make them angry. Okay, we know that's not true, but it's just how the Lord is going to set it up. Okay, so teach you, okay, so-called blacks, Native Americans, Latinos, and Hispanic, a lesson before he kills you. It says, then shall they call upon me, and I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. You're not going to find the prophets out there. We're not going to be out there when guns are blasting and stuff like that. You know, the book of Psalms talk about thousands should fall on the right, thousands should fall on the left, okay, or vice versa, or 10,000 fall on the left, telling you the amount of dead people that's going to be in Great Babylon, America real soon, you know, getting killed by the sword, the animals, the pestilence, all that stuff, okay, but it won't fall on the righteous. So we're going to be the one that's going to be laughing at your dismay. Look at the way brothers make videos. Do you see us cuddling you up or feeling sorry for you? No. Continuing, it says, for they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord Yahweh Shemashah. Why? Because you chose the way of life here in Great Babylon, America. In fact, let's close out with the book of Luke, chapter 6, down verse 47 reads, whosoever cometh to me and heareth my sayings and doeth them, I will show you to whom he is like. He's like a man which built a house and dig deep and laid the foundation on a rock. And when the flood rose, the stream beat vehemently against the house and could not shake it, for it was founded upon a rock. There's going to be a difference of the time to come. Okay, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of the times. Of why you're going to have the men of the Lord not freaking out when they see dead bodies or hearing women getting killed or raped, or the kids getting killed or raped, and all kinds of horrible things that, you know, you could just put your imagination to that's going to be taking place. And we're like, yeah, that's a judgment from the Lord Yahweh Shemashah. Why? We understand that we build our faith and trust in the Lord Yahweh Shemashah. So it's solid. We're not going to be persuaded. Okay, we're not going to bow the knee to Baal. We'll take that before that. Okay, we're not worried about people's feelings. We're not, you know, I'm not worried about my wife's feeling. You brothers ain't worried about their wife's feelings and shit like that. Either she walks straight or she don't walk straight. The same thing with your kids. Okay, and that's how we build our faith. It's built solid that we're not going to be persuaded by anything. But here's what happened to these weak ass men that are out there. And many of you women are going to be given to these men, because the Lord deals with men. It says, but he that heareth and do it not is like a man that without a foundation built a house upon the earth. Oh yeah, man, things are going to change, you know what I'm saying? I got you, you know what I'm saying? You know, me and my boys, you know what I'm saying, and all that stuff. See, y'all like retardedness, okay? Y'all like retardedness. Against which the stream did beat vehemently, and immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great. Okay, book of Jeremiah goes into talking about the fact that a man would be like doggone a woman. A lot of you women are going to be, you know, you mocking, but the Lord is going to give you has already given you to a man, or he's going to give you to a man, okay, 6'5" or 7 feet tall, 300 pounds, all muscle like that. To see him do that, was, oh yeah, my boys are going to be like a little fucking girl. Excuse my Swahili, okay? And y'all going to be shocked. He has no brain. He's not going to know what decision to make or whatever the case of that. And the decision he's going to make is not only going to get him killed, it's going to get you and your damn doggone wicked ass kids killed. All right. So this has been, it's judgment time. The blessing has expired. Edom. Great Babylon, America, okay, is the empire, is part of the empire of the Edomites, okay, or Edom, okay, the so-called white man. And it's judgment time. Lord willing, elect was that Father, close by giving all great honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakakadash, Shalom.